All right. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Rob Johnson Sports Show. Rob Johnson, Larry Patterson, back for another great episode. Let's get this thing going.
Let's go! Now it's time for the Rob Johnson Sports Show, presented by the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
What's going on, everybody? This is Rob Johnson of the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Rob Johnson Media. Shoot, did I not put the? Let me see. Let me make sure let me see if I can get. Oh my God, there we go. Let me make sure I got that too. Let me save that. Okay, I had to make sure I put the Legacy Maker Sports Network on there as well for the Facebook. So we're back. We're on there as well. How's it going, tonight, Larry? How you feeling?
What's up, man? How you feeling tonight, man? We had closed the Sunday out with some good basketball games today. We got a lot of sports to cover, and a lot of things to talk about, man.
A whole lot of things to talk about. Yes, sir. Yes, we do. So how are we gonna start this thing off tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Basically, we're gonna start off the NBA draft. Um, everybody talking about Bronny James. Everybody's talking about the Lakers picking number 55, but um, they also want to talk about how this is such a boring draft. It wasn't a good draft, and I tend to disagree, Larry, because I think there are a lot of gems in this draft from top to bottom. I just think people are. I just think that the regular season has been devalued so much in and especially college sports that and in sports in general, and hope and good thing it hasn't happened in the NFL yet. But if they keep expanding games, doing what they're doing, expanding playoff teams, eventually that's what's going to happen. So I thought it was a good draft. Give me your opinion. Give me some of your gems or which you like from this past NBA draft.
Two French guys going first and second overall to Atlanta and in Washington. There was another French guy also as well. I believe where did he go? We talked about it on Legacy on Fire the other night.
You're talking
Anyways,
about
and then
going to
the Nick,
Washington.
yeah, going to
Ale-
Washington, and then there was another
Alexandre
guy.
Sarr.
Yeah, but there was another guy too, because there was three of them picked in the first round. It was four, actually four of them picked in the first
Zach.
round.
Well, we had Zachariah Rashard who went number one to Atlanta, which we already knew that Murray was going to get dealt after that. You already knew that.
Yeah,
Let's see.
then
Yeah,
Sar,
yeah.
and wasn't there another one
Well, no,
somewhere?
Sarr was from Australia. Let's see here. Let me see. Let me make sure. In the first round, that was it. So as far as
No, Sar
France,
from Australia. Yeah, Sar
yeah, yeah,
from.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay. No, dude went to Charlotte. I can't pronounce his name, but he went to Charlotte, sixth overall, and
Tijan Zaloom.
yeah, and then there was another guy. Uh, okay, so yeah, it's Germany and that's Australia. I thought it was some French dudes, but anyways, uh, EuroLeague still taking over. You know, the league for the future. You know, got more stars coming over. I thought the Reed Shepard pick to Houston was a building block to what they are already building on. But Zach Edey to Memphis, I think, is a gem. It's a gem, and I know Steven. What's my man name? Blanking
Steven
on
Adams.
Steven Adams. I know Steven Adams. He's is another year of him getting older. You need that young veteran. I mean that young rookie piece to come in there and learn from the vet, learn how to be physical, like like a Steven Adams. So I think that was a big pick. And then Dalton Connect to the Lakers. You JJ Redick's your head coach now. He was a shooter. Now you already got somewhat of a shooter to get better from a shooter. So yeah, I thought that was it was a very interesting draft though. For the people that say that it was boring or whatever, then that's their opinion. But people like me and you, we don't see it that way. So
Well, when you look at a guy like Dalton Connect, 22, 23 years old, he started off in Northern Colorado. His numbers only got better when he went to Tennessee, which we all know the SEC is one of the tougher conferences when it comes to basketball. all in all sports, track, basketball, football, whatever. It's one of the tougher conferences, and he improved. And I think that the more that he improves and the more that he shows what he's got, I think that it's a great pick for the Lakers, as you said, JJ Redick. Now, going through going through this entire thing from when I'm looking at this draft and everything that went on, right? I'm looking at little stuff. I'm looking at just. I'm not going to call it small stuff, but you look at a Stephon Castle going to San Antonio. That's huge. That's a building block. You possibly have trade because see the thing about Wimby. I was listening to some information about him the other day. He wants to win now. So the more assets that you obtain, the more you have the ability to have trade pieces, especially if those guys are playing well. Um, I have to give a guy no I can't I'm not gonna say his name online, but I know got talked about some last night that made a lot of sense. Keldon Johnson, who's already on the Spurs, you can use him for a trade piece, etc. Because that's the one thing you don't want to lose Wimby. So these drafts and what the Spurs do is incredibly important for Wimby. Now, when we go back to Zachariah Rashard, I knew when that happened that Murray was going to leave the Atlanta Hawks because that you already have a situation where he wasn't not getting along with Trey Young. I'm not gonna say that, but they weren't gelling together. They weren't playing
Yeah,
well together. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't a situation where they were gelling as a team. I agree with you on Zach Edey. Mattis Belazis, Belazias, who went to Chicago Bulls. He is me and my cousin. We talked about this. My cousin Stead, who I'm hoping to get on this show here very soon to talk some basketball. He is an absolute dog. He loves ball. He loves playing basketball. He played. I believe he is from the Chicago area, and he's a really good piece. He comes from the League Ignite. He's from Chicago. He's 6'9", 197. So I mean, he's got the athleticism. He can play defense. So that's big for the Bulls. The other pick that I like was Nicole. Is Nicole
topic.
yeah, I said topic, but it's topic because I
It's
had
yeah,
I was mad because I got the pronunciation wrong. But Topic, Nikola Topic, out of Serbia, he is 6'6", 190. I think that was a great pick. I actually had him in my top five, my top 10, I believe. So that's a great pick for Oklahoma City. Again, another chance to have a trade piece. You look at Carlton Carrington. He was traded to the Washington Wizards. The Wizards did a very good job in this draft with getting Sar as well. I was a big, big fan of that. Going down, Khalil Ware going to Miami Heat. Huge fan of that 7-footer, 300-pounder, almost 300-pounder, I believe. Yeah, he's right at no, I'm sorry, he's 230. So he's very lean, tall dude. So I like that for the Miami Heat. Like you said, Dalton Connect, Tristan De Silva from Colorado. Colorado is a hub for basketball. He goes to the Orlando Magic,
yeah.
and the Orlando Magic could be a player for Paul George. So that's something we have to look out for. Now, when we look at the first round, when we talk about the overall steals, right? So you look at Kaishan George. He was drafted by the Knicks but traded to Washington out of Miami. That is another great pickup for the Washington Wizards. Absolute steal. Now, the real steals in this draft are Isaiah Collier of USC going to the Jazz at 29. That's just stupid good, right? You got Ryan Dunn from UVA going to Phoenix after he was drafted by the Nuggets. Then you have my guy who I thought should have got drafted by the Lakers and Deron Holmes, who I actually watched him play when he played against VCU. He was drafted by the Suns. He was traded to Denver. And I warned the Lakers, do not let Deron Holmes get to the Denver Nuggets. He's now with the Denver Nuggets. But overall, in the first round, my overall best steal has got to be Jalen Tyson out of Cal. Averaged almost 20 points per game. I had him going to Boston at 30. For Cleveland to get him at 20 and to recognize what he could do, that's huge. Now, if you want to go
And
second round, yeah, if you want to go second round, Jonathan Mogbo out of San Francisco. A lot of people say, oh, he's from San Francisco University. Yeah, yeah, he's from San Francisco. He's a really good player. Good pickup by Toronto. Kyle Filipowski goes to the Jazz. The Jazz had an absolutely terrific draft, in my opinion. Tyler Smith going to Milwaukee. Great pick. Now, for your Knicks, Tyler Kolak, out of Marquette. That, my friend, is a pick that is going to, that's a championship pick. I had him in the first round. Ed Marquette under Smart, who was a coach of ECU, who has that pedigree of getting to a Final Four, who can coach. I love that pick for the New York Knicks. Absolutely love it.
Absolutely.
Um, and the last, and I would say the last pick, the last couple picks that I liked was Adam Bona. He goes to the 76ers. He's a center out of UCLA. I like that pick a lot. Um, let's see. Harrison Ingram going to the Spurs. Another great pickup from North Carolina. That is a great second round pick. And then you have let's see if I can get my last little bit. Um, I like the Bronny James pickup. And no people say why. I like it because the young man had a heart attack. He had cardiac arrest. And we never got to see what he could really do at USC. And historically at USC, people don't really show up like that on the men's side. They come into the league and start showing out. So from my perspective, I think that the young man has a bright future. Just, give him time. So that's how I look at things.
That's exactly how I look at it too. What I'm hoping from Bronny James is that he can, if there's a way he can flip flop from the G League, if they send him down there, all depending on his development. That's why I can't wait till Summer League kicks off in a couple weeks. We get to see him, hopefully. And when season gets here, maybe he can flop from G League back into the Lakers roster. All depending on his development. It's a lot. It's a lot to look for with him and the rest of these draft picks. Kyle Filipowski. If that's, I apologize if I said his name wrong.
Filipowski, yeah, you
Um,
good, you good, you good. Yeah,
Filipowski, yeah.
yeah.
So building on to what Utah's got going on there. Laurie Marketing, I believe he's a free agent. Or they got. I think he might be up for an extension or something.
Hmm.
But him, that'll be, with Filipowski being an added piece over there, seeing what they do. Jamal Shed from Houston as well. I
Great
seen
pickup.
him
Great
play
pickup.
against Longwood, but he was one of the leaders on that Houston team in points per game, and he played well. He goes to sack. Those are a couple of my key underrated picks in this draft.
Definitely. Real quick, what do you think about free agency? I know before we got in the air, we were talking about Paul George. Where do you think he goes? I know I mentioned Orlando. Where do you think he possibly goes?
Yo, if he goes to Orlando, Orlando just picked up KCP on a 2 years. So if they could pick up Paul George, that's added. That's another added piece to what Paulo Banchero, what he's building over there. Man, I'm telling you, I think it's gonna be the Sixers. But I would not count out Orlando. They trying to build over there. They trying to win. They done already had a taste of success in the first round. Taking Cleveland to a game 7. It's only up. So I'm just hoping they can get it.
Here's the problem with going to Philadelphia. And I know a lot of Sixers fans do not like me because of my stance on Joel Embiid. However, how can you continue? How can you continue to blame everyone else when they have issues and they have trouble when it comes to playoffs, staying healthy, staying on the court? What does Paul George struggle at? Since I mean, we all know that what he did in Indiana when he got into the Eastern Conference Finals, the Indiana Pacers. But since then, he struggled in the playoffs. So you're gonna
Yeah,
have two
yeah.
guys who I'm not gonna say two chokers because that chokers is a bad word when it comes to sports. But when you got two guys who've come up short, man, I mean, yeah, listen, when Kawhi Leonard was out, the expectation is Paul George, you carry us and it just didn't happen. So in the
And he's
Eastern
got his
Conference,
injury issues as well too.
oh my God, yes, he's going to be almost. I believe he's on the verge of being 35 here soon. I don't know when, but he's 34 now, so he'll be 35 on his next birthday. But you have to look at that. You also have to look at this fact: the East is getting better. The East is getting
Mm-hmm.
better, and the East without injuries, especially next year. You got Milwaukee coming back. You got the Knicks. You got a lot. You got Indiana, who's going to just continuously get better. You got a lot of teams in the East who are good. The Boston Celtics aren't going anywhere. And
Nope.
and and right now, even if you add Paul George to the Sixers, you think they're better than the Boston Celtics? I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, I think by the end of this show, we're gonna see where Paul George goes, and I'm crossing my fingers that it's still Orlando Magic.
Klay Thompson, do you think he could be? You think he'll be an LA Laker? You think that he'll get that mid level exception, and LeBron will not, because LeBron has already said, if you guys want me to not sign a max deal, bring me a mid level exception player. Do you think they get Klay Thompson?
Hey, look, the Clippers just let Paul George walk out the building. I know Klay Thompson ain't the same caliber player. You know what I'm saying? But you can argue that Paul George really ain't Paul George or what he used to be either.
Yeah,
And I
but see,
and I and I say that because of his struggles, and I say that because of his injuries. Same thing Clay got going on. But
that's my freaking problem with the Clippers, right? That's my problem with the Clippers, man. Like, you've been struggling all these years. You finally got something. You're getting your own arena. Imagine going to the arena and you start to suck again, like you did back in the old days. Imagine paying all the money for that arena. I'm serious. I'm serious here. You've been under the Lakers' shadow forever. You cover the banners up. You do this, you do that. Now, what happens if you go to your own arena and you suck? And you suck. Okay, you don't even get a sign and trade. You're not even gonna get a sign and trade for Paul George. You're just gonna let him walk out the door for no compensation. Come on, man. That right there. And Larry, pretty soon we're gonna have a topic on some of these new owners in sports, because they're really screwing things up in
oh hell
Carolina,
yeah,
in Phoenix. People are just throwing money at problems, and they're not realizing that these see. And like I said, we'll do this topic here very soon, probably next couple of weeks, where we talk about these owners, these new owners, and they're just throwing money at problems, and that's not how it works. And Steve
we
Ballmer's got a lot of money, but I mean, he's made some questionable decisions.
what we got that coming up later on toward the end of the show. What I'm going to talk about with one of these NBA teams, about these owners making all these stupid decisions. Um, but like I told you, Balmer will overpay, and you're going into a new arena next season. You need a name in there, so he's going to overpay for Klay Thompson. And right now, I feel like it will come between the two LA teams, and I feel like Balmer will overpay.
Let me ask you this, Chris Paul. They declined this 30, I think, be $30+ million option, which they should have. What is a good option for Chris Paul to go and come off the bench and be a leader? Because he should not be a starter at this point. He should not be a starter at this point.
Nah, nah, not the way his body is.
No, no.
Hmm.
You know what I
I,
can see?
I think the
I
Lakers.
No, Miami. I think Chris Paul should go down to Miami, come off the bench, play 10, 15 minutes a game, show some leadership, and keep it moving. But then again, him and how and him and Jimmy Butler are gonna mesh. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's why I say the Lakers because with the LeBron friendship, with
what
the
about
JJ
this?
Redick friendship.
Yeah, I was gonna say Minnesota, but they're a running team. Like, he needs to go to more. I feel like a team. I feel like a team that he would fit perfectly in. Honestly, he would fit perfectly in where he will only play 10, 15 minutes. A Memphis Grizzlies, because you already got Marcus Smart. You bring him into Memphis, he already brings that toughness. You bring him to Memphis. I mean, you bring him to Memphis.
Nah,
Not Memphis,
nah,
not Memphis. Like,
nah.
from
You
like
already got John Morant. You got
maybe from a
you
leadership
know.
standpoint. Maybe from a leadership standpoint, no. That's hard.
I still think Chris Paul got a lot more left in the game than that kind of role.
Mm,
Like a role like you said, Miami, because Miami's always in some way in some kind of contention. Or
mm-hmm.
if he real, I feel like if he really wants to get slick, play with Wimby. You know what I'm saying? Play with Wimby.
Hey, listen. Last year I was thinking about, something. You make a great point there, because you got Castle there, who he's going to grow as a point guard, and he can still do a shooting guard role as well. But Chris Paul throwing lobs to Wimby, I think that would work.
Hey,
And the
look.
Spurs have like a kind of a slower pace, not slow pace, but they're not the most.
Hey, look. Chris Paul ain't he not no stranger of rebuilding teams. You know what I'm saying? He not a stranger of playing with young guys when he went to Oklahoma City Thunder. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like at this stage in his career, like of course he going to contend for a championship and whatnot. But if he could go to the Spurs, you know what I'm saying? In a
Or
I wouldn't say
or he could
limited role.
or he
Go
could
ahead.
always go he could always go home. Go to Charlotte. Teach
No.
Alonzo Ball. Go to Charlotte. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Or go back home to New Orleans. Or go back home to New Orleans. Why not? Why
Because
not?
with New Orleans, you just got Dejounte Murray and CJ. What's my man? Why am I blinking on names tonight?
CJ
CJ
McCollum.
McCullum.
But but
Uh,
but Larry, but here's the problem though. What did we learn from the NBA last year? Everybody gets hurt. So again,
yeah.
but here's my last option. If you really want to be serious, you go to Milwaukee. You go to Milwaukee and come off the bench. Because Damian Lillard's bound to get hurt. I
Mm,
mean, it's bound to happen. I mean, because look, Milwaukee already screwed up. Milwaukee already no, because there's Doc Rivers there, so no, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. So as we wrap this topic up, we're 24 minutes in the show. What are your final thoughts on NBA draft and free agency overall? Just your quick thought.
yeah, man. It's been pretty fire so far. Not fire, but I mean, pretty entertaining. I feel like with names like Paul George and all these other free agents that can't come to my mind right now, I feel like it's going to be real interesting. It's free agency is always that period, whether it's MLB, NFL, especially NBA, where these players sign to these different teams. You get to pick, play roster movement and all this, and what you think will happen here or there. So, yeah, man, it's been all right so far.
Yeah, and we go back to drafts like the Kawhi Leonard draft. We go back to the Giannis Antetokounmpo draft, and people thought that it wasn't going to be. People thought it wasn't going to be the best drafts. But hey, Kawhi Leonard was selected 15th in the 2011 draft. It was all about Kyrie, but he was selected 15th. So, just final word. I feel like personally, I'll say this. I feel like in 5 years, this draft class will be looked at as a classic draft class. I think that it will not a classic, but I think this will be looked at as a draft class that was underrated. What do you think?
Very productive. That's how I see it. Very
Yeah,
productive. You
gotcha.
got guys making plays and making moves and making money, and I feel like this is a draft that people sleep on and they're talking about they don't know anybody, and you're gonna know these guys in about 3, 4, 5 years. Hell,
Yeah,
maybe this year.
yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the next topic, and I think this is a very important topic. We lost Willie Mays a few weeks ago. Let me just run down some things on Willie Mays. 660 home runs, sixth all time, 24-time All Star. He hit 4 home runs in one game on April 30th, 1961. 12-time Gold Glove winner, two-time MVP. The 1954 Giants that he played with. Back then, you had to win your regular season, and then you just went straight to the World Series. They beat a Cleveland Indians team who won 111 games,
Damn.
111 and 43. Well, that same year, the Giants only had 97 wins. They swept them, and what you see right here, this catch, this was in Game One. This was in Game One against Vic Wertz. Vic Wertz hit the ball deep in his Game One. Hit the ball deep, and there was runners in scoring position. Willie Mays makes the play, and the rest is history. So the question tonight, Larry, is this: do you think that first? Do you think Willie Mays should be the MVP trophy in the All Star game should be named after him? And then, do you think that the logo should be what we just saw right there?
Um, should the All Star MVP or should the MVP in general? That's what you
Well,
said, right?
Well, see, yeah, the All Star MVP because see, I have some bigger visions as far as the. I think there should be an overall MVP of just the entire baseball, but that we'll save that for another day. But do you think that All Star,
Yeah,
because he's a 24-time All Star, so I think. What do you think about him being named the MVP trophy being named after him, and then of course, him being the logo.
hell yeah, just because of his accolades and everything, like you just said, 24-time All Star. Um, yeah, that would be a great move right there. You change the All Star MVP, the Willie Mays All Star MVP. You can't. Nobody will argue with that. You can't argue with that. Now, as far as the logo change, I don't know, bro. Because but it's like sometimes you get used to something, and then there's sometimes where you may want to see something different. Now that could be a very good secondary logo. It would be a very good secondary logo, where you could just have the 24 and or you can black out the 24, white out the 24, and just have him going for the catch. That'd be brilliant. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
definitely for the All Star
I,
MVP.
I think that sometimes people, I know that the entire situation with the records and everything like that has got people in their feelings, but I think it needs to be said that there have been a lot of influential African Americans who have played baseball, and if you look at the '70s, you look at the '80s, that's when baseball was at its height, especially the '70s. You had a lot of African American players who were doing a lot of great things. You look back at the '90s into the 2000s. Who did you have? You have King Griffey, Barry Bonds. Baseball was still very
Ricky
hot.
Henderson,
You have Ricky Henderson. You had a
Tony
lot of
Gwynn,
yeah. Look at no, oh, one of the greatest hitters of all time. Even look at your captain, Derek Jeter. Even
Derek
though he was
Jeter.
yeah, Derek Jeter. That's when baseball was really like baseball momentum slowed down. Even though the money hasn't slowed down, but I think that you know I would like to see him in the logo, not just because he's black. I don't want to have that. I don't want to say that. But what I'm saying is that I think that he's earned it. I mean, think about it. The man had to start in Negro leagues, and then he had to come over to Major League Baseball. Think about how baseball would have been different if the players did not have to start in the Negro leagues. But baseball recognized, hey, these guys are really good. It's not, and mind you, while this stuff is going on, Willie Mays is still dealing with segregation.
Hmm.
He's still dealing with not being able
Man,
to not being able to eat. Think about what I just said. 4 home runs in a game, but yet and still, he can't sleep in the same hotel. He can't go to the same restaurants. He can't do this. He has to go to the certain water fountain. I mean, think about that. I mean, you literally had to go to another water fountain. This is real. This is not fake. This is
what a
not. This
time
is
of
not.
bullying. What a
Yeah.
time of bullying, man. that is crazy. And I think didn't one of the coaches on the team, or I feel like he was forced to, but he was like, well, if we got to eat where Willie, where he's accepted, basically. You
Well,
know what I'm
yeah, but
saying?
yeah, and I get that, but see, the thing is that you know, again, going back to my point about them beating the Cleveland Indians, I mean, that was pretty. That was you sweep a 111 win team.
Yeah,
He was great, and the catch he made, I just think that was one of the more historic moments that we've ever seen in sports. We've ever seen in sports, and like I said, we were long from being here, but that's it. When you talk to baseball historians, people who understand the game of baseball, who love the game of baseball, that is still considered that's considered the greatest play in the history. It wasn't a home run. It
absolutely.
it wasn't it wasn't a shortstop making a crazy play from shortstop to first or second baseman to first. Yeah, yeah. And we don't know I don't know what the conditions were that day. I know it was in September, but we don't know the conditions that day. We don't know how tired he was. I mean, think about it. The man was already going through enough stuff, besides the fact that he was dealing with, racial division. So think of all the stuff his mind, body was going through. He had to be tired in a sense. So for him to make that play and then to become the MVP and to win that World Series and they win that 4-0, that's huge. I mean, that is absolutely huge. So I think that Rob Manfred, who I have not been a fan of, I think that Rob Manfred would do something like that just to and not do it just again because he's black, but do it because he earned it.
It's just
Willie
the
Mays
right thing
earned
to
it.
do.
It's the
It's
right
just the
thing to
right thing
do
to do.
because he
And
earned it.
yeah, and one thing when you going back to the catch, we don't know what the conditions of how it was at that particular time. Uh, you know how the sun gets in your eyes when that sun shines over, in that outfield. Imagine if the sun was right there blinding him. And
Yeah.
that'll make it even better, that he was able to make that catch. So yeah, it's the right thing to do.
And what would you think about them naming an overall MVP after him? Because see, I know you have the AL and NL MVP, but what I think would be cool one day is that they actually had just an overall MVP of baseball, and they call it the Willie Mays MVP Award. What would you think about that?
That's what I would much rather see it as, just because of the player that he was, not just because of No, the one scenario that we was talking about. But overall, the man has like, what does he have? Like 660 home runs. He's
Yeah,
like
6,
over
yeah,
three.
which is like six all time. But here's the kicker, Larry. Here's the funnier thing, right? In the top of the eighth inning with runners on first and second in a 2-2 game. This isn't just some weird situation where he just made a great catch in some whatever, game 2 or 3. This was critical. It was 2-2. It was top of the eighth, and he made it, running straight back towards the wall, head looking at the outfield rather than tracking the ball, snared it before instantly releasing the famous throw that gets far less attention than the catch itself. And the reason that's important was because after he made the catch, his throw, if you look at the way his body was contorted, right? He goes up, makes the catch. He doesn't even get time to set his feet. He turns around instantly. He slings the ball, and that stops a run from getting in because they're getting a third, and they're getting a
Wow,
home. Yeah,
even
because
even
that's
better,
exactly that's what I'm
even
saying.
better.
So, and that's what they talk about. They always talk about the catch, but they don't talk about the throw after, because again, it's a 2-2 game. You got runners on first and second, with one out. So, I
Wow.
mean, and in that situation, you have to think about it. You're making the catch. Your body is already, like I said, torquing. You're not really in a good position. That ball could be thrown. If that ball is thrown any type of error, that run scores.
Yeah,
And he was
which
deep.
that
And he was deep at the wall too.
those are plays that MVP makes. MVP type player makes
Exactly.
that type of play right there.
Exactly. Exactly. So, overall, I feel like that
So
Willie
not
Mays
because it's the right thing to do, but it's just like I said, like not because it's the right thing to do, but it should have been done. To be
should have
honest,
been
it
done.
should have been
I
done.
agree. I agree. And it happened in the Bud Selig era was not going to happen. And we all get that. It was not going to happen. And I mean, this is the guy who stopped the All Star game, and we had to have the winner of the All Star game get the home field advantage in the World Series for a couple of years, for years upon years. So it definitely wasn't happening in his era. Will it happen to Rob Manfred era? Probably, but I think when the next commissioner comes, that's probably when something like that would happen. I don't know. But let's go to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. Take your pick for the 2024 season. Are you taking Tyreek Hill? Or are you taking Justin Jefferson? I thought something was just very interesting about this, right? So if we remember, Patrick Mahomes did not start. He didn't become the quarterback of the Chiefs until 2018. So if I look at Tyreek Hill's playoff numbers, right? So 2016, he had 4 catches for 27 yards. They played in one game. In 2017, they played in one game, 7 catches for 87 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He had no touchdowns, no touchdowns. In 2018, he played in 2 games, 9 catches, 114 yards. In 2019, he had 17 receptions during the 3 games they were in the playoffs, for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2020, when they won the Super Bowl, 3 games, he had 31 targets, 24 catches, 355 yards. And then he had 285 yards the next year, of course, and then he goes to Miami. But here's his Miami stats that are very alarming. In 2 playoff games with the Miami Dolphins. Now, mind you, he did not have Tua last year because Thompson was playing. Skylar Thompson was playing. But in 2 playoff games with the Miami Dolphins, you know how many catches Tyreek Hill has in 2 games?
I
12.
mean,
69 and
God,
62, 69 and 62 yards. He has one touchdown. He has one touchdown, right? So we go to Justin Jefferson, and I know we'll get to the regular season stats and all that stuff, but you know how I feel about Justin Jefferson. I still hold against him what happened against the Giants and Daniel Jones. 9 targets, 7 catches, 47 yards, no touchdowns against the New York Giants, who got absolutely demolished next week against the Giants, against the Eagles. So let me know, man.
um, come on, Tyreek Hill, man. Yeah,
Oh,
this
oh,
this
oh, 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 oh. Let me stop you real quick. I just wanted to say real quick before we go on. I know this is a sports show. We don't do wrestling, but I just want to say rest in peace to Roman Reigns' father, and also sending condolences to AEW International Champion Will Ospreay, who just announced his grandmother passed away on Tuesday. So rest in peace to Will Ospreay's grandmother. Just wanted to give you that condolences and Everybody out there going through losses right now. My heart is with you. I'm praying for you in these hard times we're going through in this country. But I just wanted to give that respect. You can go ahead, brother.
Yeah, rest in peace. Um, yeah, I'm going in the playoffs with Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, who you talked about as the stat stuffer.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
it just, for
I,
some reason, I just, listen, I, I get it. He makes great plays, and he made great plays in college. But for me, I just cannot get over that Giants game. I cannot get over that Giants game. The Vikings had an opportunity, man, to really do something special. They
they
had some
did.
chance. They had a chance to do something special. I mean, you look at Justin Jefferson, 88
He was
catches, 108,
targeted nine. He
yeah,
was targeted 9 times, 7 catches,
for 47,
47 yards
yeah.
in that playoff game.
And let's be
So
honest, that same year when they played against Buffalo, they got lucky. Remember the Buffalo game when they came back and everybody was like, "Oh, Minnesota's here." Yes, he
yeah,
made some. He made a spectacular catch, but they got lucky in that game because the Buffalo Bills Buffalo built. And you remember what happened when they played
yep,
Dallas? What happened when they
yep,
played Dallas, and Dallas absolutely stumped them. So we already knew that they were a flawed team going to that playoff. Now Tyreek Hill, can we associate now postseason wise? We can associate a lot of success that he had to Patrick Mahomes. Now we've seen Patrick Mahomes do it without Tyreek Hill, especially the last 2 years. So could we attribute his playoff success to Patrick Mahomes?
yeah. Because without Patrick Mahomes, he had 15 targets, 7 catches, and 69 yards in one playoff game, and then he had 8 targets, 5 catches, and 62 yards and one touchdown in another game without Patrick Mahomes. So, and if you look at you went over Patrick Mahomes' stats with him when you covered it when you talked about it earlier. But when you looking at numbers like shit, even 87, 114, 213, 355, 285, that it just it goes to who's throwing that ball, and I'm not putting it all on them because it's things inside the game that we not talking about either. But if I'm looking at numbers, I'm looking at, hey man, I'm going with Tyreek Hill with Patrick Mahomes until Tua can become that type of quarterback. Then we'll never know.
Well, we have to look at it. We have to look at it too. Last year with Miami, his first year, he had 1,710 yards, 7 touchdowns. Then this past year, he had 1,799 yards and 13 touchdowns with 119 receptions. However, you have to look at also with Tyreek Hill. He slowed down. I mean, he was on the pace for 2,000 plus yards, but he started to slow down.
Yeah,
And then he gets to the playoffs against his former team. I understand it's cold, but he's played in those conditions before. So I mean, but that cold was a different cold, and I definitely understand that. So if you're asking me to choose, if I had to choose for my life today, if I had to choose for my life, who do I think that could take me to a Super Bowl? I'd have to say Tyreek. I would have to say Tyreek Hill because I've seen him do it. I haven't seen Justin Jefferson do it. And to be honest with you, people are gonna follow me when I say this. I think Jordan Addison is gonna be the better receiver in the next 2, 3 years on Minnesota. I think Jordan
hey,
Addison is. I think Jordan Addison is just that good that he's going to be the better receiver, and he's not a stat stuffer. He's an impact player.
hey, doesn't it seem like it always happens like that? Like you have the young receiver in Justin Jefferson who comes into the league and he sparks the league up and he has these 1,000+ yard seasons and whatnot, and then you have a receiver like Jordan Addison who played well when Jefferson in his absence when he was out for the few games that he was out for last season, but you can see it since probably I want to say game one or two. Jordan Addison been balling. He's been balling when he was playing against the Eagles. I believe it's week 2.
Yeah,
Balling.
and we're gonna see how good those receivers are because you're dealing with Sam Darnold, then you're dealing with the young man out of Michigan. So whoever starts, we're gonna see what those receivers can really do because again, sometimes the receiver makes a quarterback, sometimes the quarterback makes a receiver. And as we see here, in my opinion, so far, Kirk Cousins has made these receivers. Patrick Mahomes has made Tyreek Hill in the postseason, but in the regular season, his stats are still really good. So I'm gonna go Tyreek Hill because he has championship, he has the pedigree. Um, I think that overall he's the faster player, of course. Now is he the high point player? No. Justin Jefferson makes those high point catches all the time. I just I, and I hate to call Justin Jefferson a stat stuffer. I know that's a bad word for a receiver, but it just seems like he has these really good games, and then when it's time to really show up and shine, he doesn't really show up for me. It's like Calvin
I
Johnson.
get it.
Calvin Johnson used to have such spectacular games, and then it's like I feel like when I really needed him in Matt Stafford the most, it was like
They don't
eh,
show up.
don't show. But then Matt Stafford goes to L.A. with Cooper Cup and they win a championship together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe it was coaching. Who knows? But when you're getting paid, and you know me, I don't count grown men's pockets or grown women's pockets. That's not what I do. When you're getting paid where you're getting paid, the way these people are today with their fantasy and all that crap, you gotta produce, man. You gotta produce. You gotta produce. You gotta produce. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And with whether it's Sam Darnold or whether it's JJ McCarthy, they are responsible for that relationship that they're building with not only just Justin Jefferson, but Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson as well. But how how will this relationship work between you and the guy who's just recently got paid, a bunch, and Justin Jefferson? He got the extension. So now that's the most important relationship that you have to build on that offense. First your offensive line, then him.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes this year.
Yep. Yep. So look, we're gonna go to the next topic. This might get a little heated in certain markets. Well, here's the question. Take your pick. This is what we got here, folks. We have a fantasy. This is what we call fantasy. You can and if you guys want to email the show, no BS Sports Zone at gmail.com, you can email me or you can make your comments known. What you want to see the fantasy pick of the week. This week we have a game 7 situation. 24 seconds ago, the shot clock is turned off. Who are you taking in the situation? Ray Allen or Steph freaking Curry?
Steph.
Steph,
I'm taking Steph, man.
did Steph
I
did,
mean,
did Steph
you can't
did
sleep on Ray too, but I'm going with Steph.
did Steph knock down a shot that was able to get LeBron to game 7? Did
No, but he's hit
did
so many big
did
shots in his career.
my God? Okay, so give me an example of some of the big shots of Steph Curry because to me there's no bigger shot because without Ray Allen, Tim Duncan has number 6. Give me some Steph Curry shots. Give me some Steph Curry shots.
I mean, there's the
Because he
shot.
always comes up short in the playoffs. Because when they couldn't beat LeBron, who did he go get? He went and got did everybody talks to Kevin Durant went to his team. No, 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 no. That 70-win team needed some help. They need their Dennis Rodman. Well, their Dennis Rodman, which was a little bit different style, but they needed Kevin Durant because they had to beat that bad man LeBron James.
Yeah, but you won one without him, and then you won two without him actually because you beat Boston. You beat Boston like a couple years ago,
Yeah,
and he's the
but
Finals MVP.
I get all of that, but I'm okay. Okay, so let me go into this from a different angle. Okay, okay. So we know Ray Allen's career. Let's look at Ray Allen. Okay, Ray Allen played 18 years in the NBA. He was a 2-time champ. He was a 10-time All-Star. See, Boston. The thing about Boston, Boston at that time needed a change. And what I feel like is this. The reason that I fell in love with the three-point shot was not because Steph Curry. See, I think people just like fell in love with him shooting logo threes and blah blah blah. The three-point shot was already popular. But see, back in the old days, if you were shooting threes like that, what would happen to you? Where would you go? You go to the bench.
Yeah.
The coach would so let me ask you this. Reverse the eras. Reverse the eras, right? Put Steph Curry in 95, 96 and put Ray Allen in 2011. What happens? What happens? Be honest with yourself. Put Ray Allen in this era where you can shoot threes from anywhere and you can be honest. You put Steph Curry in 96 in that NBA. What happens
as the same player.
as the same player? Be honest.
I
Be
mean, I still,
honest here.
I still think he hitting them from the logo, man.
Oh no.
I still
Oh
think he hitting them from the
no.
logo.
No. I'm gonna tell you something. My favorite 3-point shooter all time. Yeah, I understand. We'll get to numbers in a second. You got Ray Allen. You got Ray Allen, Reggie Miller. I used to wear the Reggie Miller armband. I used to shoot the three like Reggie Miller. I used to shoot in my when I still play NBA 2K11. My free throws. Who do I imitate? Ray Allen, Jesus himself. He went against Tupac in the world, and he
Yo,
survived.
Ray Allen when he was with the Bucks was a different Ray Allen.
Yo, listen. And the reason I say this is fantasy, when you talk about you take both players, you have to take everything into account. I believe in my heart of hearts, and if I could ever, and God rest Kobe Bryant's soul, like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan, but I respected him. But if I could ever ask him and Shaq one on one, if I could ask them, what would have happened if y'all had to play the big dog, Glenn Robinson, Sam Cassell, and Ray Allen instead of the Sixers? What would have happened? I guarantee you, they said it would have been a tougher series. I guarantee you, because that team losing to, I still to this day cannot believe Allen Iverson beat that Milwaukee Bucks team to get to the finals. To this day, I cannot believe, because Ray Allen was so good, man. And people look at his 3-point shooting, but they forget that he can drive as well. They forget that he's a good finisher.
Was Michael Redd on that team too?
No,
Well, he
Michael Redd
came
came a
years
little bit
later.
later. He came a little bit later, but you also got to remember, he was 6'5". Steph Curry's like 6'2", 6'3", but he's a small 6'2". Ray Allen's 6'5", shooting guard. And you got to remember what he did for Boston. Boston hadn't won a championship since what, the 80s? And they had gone through the Rick Pitino era. Paul Pierce decides to come to Boston and get stabbed up because he wants to bring LA politics to Boston, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? The Celtics were in
That's
turmoil. And then
amazing. That's
it's
amazing how he walked out of that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm telling you. You have three older players, and you have to basically mentor a young Rajon Rondo. You beat the Lakers. They were so close to winning another championship with Ray Allen. I think that would have changed things a little bit if they had won
Yeah,
that championship.
I feel like he would have stayed there if they hadn't won that.
Yeah, but you got to answer my
Only
question. You reverse the errors. Because think about this right now, right? Like let's keep this real. So right now, James Harden is only 33 threes from tying Ray Allen. So again, if you put Steph Curry when he came out of Davidson, and you put him in 96, but then you put you put Ray Allen out of UConn in the NBA in the 29, 09, 10, somewhere in that realm, like where Steph Curry came out, what happens?
I probably take Ray Allen coming out of there.
That's why we call this
I
fantasy.
probably take
That's why we
because when he
yeah.
came when he came out, when he went to the Bucks, and even in his Seattle days, he was a franchise player.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
most
and when he
definitely,
went to
most definitely.
Boston, it seemed like he took a step back. What I'm saying, just kind of like was the Robin, like,
Yeah,
but
but he was instrumental on that team. And again,
yeah,
if he's not there for the Miami Heat, that Miami Heat signing was probably one of the better signings Pat Riley's ever made. If he doesn't make that, think about if he doesn't make that three. Think about how much history has changed. LeBron's only got
yeah,
three. Tim Duncan's got six, and that three was cold blooded. That's why I keep asking you. Give me an example of when Steph Curry hit one of them threes like in a clutch, because every time I look, like I go back to what was it, 2016, 2017, when they lost the Cavs after they were up 3-1. Even though Draymond was suspended, Kyrie, you think Kyrie would have dropped like 40 plus on a young Ray Allen?
nah.
Nah. This is more than 3-point shooting, man. So let's give the final verdict. Take your pick. And that's what I'm saying. You got 24 seconds, and you got to be clutch. No time on the clock. Basically, you're down by two, and you want to take a three. You trust in Ray Allen. You trust in Steph Curry.
I'm trusting Steph Curry.
I'm I'm trusting Ray Allen. We can agree. We can agree to freaking disagree. But again, Steph Curry is a great 3-point shooter. All time, he's made 3,747. Ray Allen second all time with 2,973. Reggie Miller is fifth all time with 2,560. And actually, notice this crazy stat here. Damian Lillard is fourth all time in 3-point shooting shots
That's
made.
crazy.
Yeah, Klay Thompson is like sixth. LeBron's eighth all time, which is funny. That's
That's
weird.
crazy. So Steph's one, Reggie's two, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then third is who?
Third is James Harden. He's only 33 away from tying Ray Allen.
He gonna get that this year.
Damian Lillard's fourth. He's way behind. LeBron James is, let's see here. Here's the funnier thing about this. LeBron James is 71 away from Klay Thompson, which, I mean, LeBron did start in the biblical time. So, I mean, he has been playing a
Yeah.
long time. So, I mean, come on, man. You know, and we talk about games played. LeBron is, Jesus Christ. Okay, here's the difference. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. And I know we're talking Ray Allen and Steph, but this is funny as hell. So when we talk about games played, actual minutes played, LeBron has played 56,598 minutes, and Klay Thompson has played 25,842. That's crazy. And when you talk about games played, LeBron 1,492 with Klay Thompson 793. So yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. So back to my point, I'm taking Ray Allen. He's the better 3-point shooter. For me, if I'm taking an all-time 3-point shooter, I'm taking Ray Allen. He has the better stroke. He has the sweeter stroke. I just think that Ray Allen doesn't get enough credit for what he did for the 3-point shot. It's just something about him coming off the edge. It's something about him coming off, off a screen and snap, 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 snap. Just smooth. Snap. Just smooth. Anyway, let's go to our next topic as we talk about this
Oh,
W. Let's talk about
whoa,
what's that? What happened? Oh Lord, what just happened?
we got breaking news. As of 8:30, Chris Paul was signed with the San Antonio Spurs. Am I a genius or what?
Hey, I said it too, damn it. And listen, I said it too, but listen,
You did too.
But here's the thing though. You get I gotta go back. And you know how I am. I'm gonna go back to my Facebook and say Chris Paul should go to the Spurs about 2-3 years ago. I gotta find that. But no, I think that's huge. Any more news we got going on?
That is about it. Jonas Valanciunas signed with the Wizards. Why? Yeah, but that's about it.
But my Valanciunas, well, you know what? Again, I was talking to somebody last night who was a big time Lakers fan, and I brought up Valanciunas, and he was like, "Nah, just too slow." I think that for the Wizards, that's more of a pick that they can use. I think they can use that as far as some veteran leadership. The Wizards aren't as bad as people think. I'm not saying they're going to make a play in or anything, but I think they got enough pieces where they could challenge for a little bit of a play in or something.
They do with Kuzma there, and I mean, if Jordan Poole decides to play this year,
Let's not go there.
We got some things.
I mean, the BET Awards is on. He might be there searching for his next hottie. Who knows? I mean, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see how he's going. But anyway, let's get to the WNBA. Let's talk about today's games. We had 3 games today, I believe. Larry and yeah, we had 3 games today. That's all I can say, man. Give me your opinion.
Yeah, you had 3 games today. You had the Liberty and the Dream was the first game. Pretty competitive. The
Before
dream. We talked about the dream.
before you go on, the Dream is so bipolar. It is ridiculous. I mean,
They are.
they had a 15-point lead. Brianna Stewart had to save them again, had to save the Liberty again, but the Liberty win again. There have been people that have said the Dream need a coaching change. I don't know if they need a coaching change, but man,
They're just weird. They are weird. Tina Charles had a game today.
16
You want
points,
you
12 rebounds. Yep.
you want to talk about just abusing Jonquel Jones. Jonquel Jones did not have a great game today, but Tina Charles just took it to her today. She had an excellent game. Uh,
Alicia Gray had a great game. She had
Alicia,
24,
yeah,
but then
Alicia Gray
everybody,
had a great game.
Parker Tyrus had 12. But I mean, that's what? That's three players. Gray had 24, Charles had 16, and Tyrus had 12. But everybody else was in single digits.
Yeah, Jordan Canada, like she had 9 points. She had 9 rebounds and five. No, she had 9 assists and 5 rebounds. So she was doing some things, some good things outside of hit to make some good plays defensively and offensively. But yeah, Alicia Gray, Tina Charles, those were the main two from there. And it's like they hung in there. Like they started out strong, but Brianna Stewart 22 points, 12 rebounds. I seen her on a block. It was a key block. Now, Brianna Stewart just made a field goal, goes to the other end, and has a key block. You want to talk about MVP type of plays right there.
Yeah,
She
and
saved this
she,
New York team today.
yeah, but see, that's the point I wanted to get to. Listen, man, I know we get the Caitlin Clark hype, but before Caitlin Clark, there was Sabrina Ionescu. And here's my concern, and this will continue to be my concern. Today, she was 3 of 17 from the field, 2 of 11 from 3-point land. When is she going to take? When is she going to take that role? She's now 26 years old. She's been in the league now. She's been in the league enough time now. Are you worried that eventually Brianna Stewart is going to realize that she cannot win with this young lady in the playoffs?
No, don't say that, Rob. I like this
Listen,
core. I like this
listen.
core.
But let's be honest with each other. Let's be honest with the people. Brianna Nescu does not come up in the best moments. Remember how she went against Steph Curry in the 3-point contest? Yes, Steph has great games, but what happens when palm, like as Stephen A. says, when palms get sweaty and butts get tight? What does Sabrina and Steph do in the postseason that we've seen so far? They get tight. Sabrina Ionescu has got to step up. Listen, she's had some really good games this year. I mean, let's be very clear about that. She had 20, and here's the funny part. On the 23rd against Atlanta, she had 26. You go from 26 to 10. She had 31 against the Sparks, which was her season high, 31 points. So the young lady can score, but then she has games like June 6th at Atlanta when she scored 10.
Yeah.
I mean, you go against Indiana on June 2nd, you only have 16. Against Indiana, against Minnesota on May 25th, you only have 13 points. Brianna Stewart has put a lot of mileage on her body. This is what people have to understand about her. She's put a lot on her body. Not only has she done it in the WNBA, she won 4 straight national championships. You know how much that
Mm,
takes out of a person? And and
and
and, and
still
then
balling.
and then the demand to play for Gina Oriema and then to come into the league and do what you're doing. She has the whole weight of New York City on her back. People can talk about Indiana selling out. The Liberties sell out all the time. There's a lot of pressure. But Sabrina Nescu is 26. She's going to be 27. She needs to step up. She needs to step up, Larry, because if not, man, I'm telling you, the Liberty are going to have to make some decisions in the future. They're going to have to make some decisions in the future because, she's a great player. I'm not going to call her a great player. She's a really good player. but I just haven't seen enough to tell me that she is ready for the moment. Do you think that Sabrina Nescu is ready for the moment?
I feel like at times she can be, but then when you have games like this, you know, a little
On this, yeah.
inconsistent.
And the reason I
Um,
say games like this is important, Larry, it's a Sunday afternoon. It's a Sunday afternoon. You got the 1 o'clock slot, which is always important when it comes to Sunday basketball. When you got that 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock slot, that is important because
all
nothing
eyes
else.
are on you.
All eyes are on you, and we're not talking about Tupac. We're talking about you. So what you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Sabrina Nescu? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing, Larry. She's not gonna be judged by what she does in the regular season. We're still gonna judge her in the regular season, but when she gets to the playoffs, we're gonna see
That's
what she's
when,
all about. That's when things are
yeah,
gonna get real. That's when things are
yeah.
gonna get real.
I'm gonna touch on one more thing for this game. Tina Charles, she was throwing a screen. Now, Lady, what's my girl name? Um, Lady Hamilton
Yeah,
was so
Yeah,
Tina Charles.
yeah, Laney Hamilton. Yep.
Yeah, so Tina Charles was you know throwing a screen on Laney Hamilton, and it was hard as hell. Like it was boom, knock Laney back a little bit. You know that if that was somebody else, that would have been a foul.
Oh, most definitely, and we definitely saw that in that game, which we're about to get to in a second. Um, Now, I will also say, as you made the point, Jonquel Jones, she's got to play better. She's got to play better. But if you're telling me we're going to see the Aces against the Liberty for the championship again, it wouldn't shock me, because those teams draw. I understand it's not a popular, unbeknownst to a lot of people, the Liberty and the Aces have been selling out. They've been selling out arenas, blah blah blah. Speaking of that, let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Let's talk about the Indiana Fever against the Phoenix Mercury. Brittany Griner, sometime in the third quarter, went out with a knee injury, but she was able to come back into the game. That changed the course of the game. Also, the biggest reason that the Mercury lost this game was because Kelsey Mitchell went off in the second half for 16 points. I don't know what's going on with Caitlin Clark when she scores and then she doesn't score again for a long time, but that happened today. Yes, she had the assist. And people like to say Steve Nash, Steve Nash. Well, Steve Nash never won a championship. So do you really want that comparison? Yeah, you got the Hall of Fame, comparison, and you could get your jacket one day, but where's the championships? You see what I'm
My
saying?
girl, my girl had four. She was 4 for 14 from the field today. Caitlin Clark.
Well, not only that, but here's worse. And see, this is what I can't stand about these broadcasts. You're bragging that she hit a low of three. Great. But when you're 2 of 10 from 3 point land, you should not be bragging about something. When you're 2 of 10 from three, and again,
Mm.
this is not me criticizing Caitlin Clark. People say, "Oh, you don't like Caitlin Clark." No, I think Caitlin Clark can be a hell of a player, but I think that these logo threes have gotten out of hand. You know, they've gotten out of hand. She has shown since the national championship game that she can score early, but then she can't score late.
Yeah,
There's some clutch gene, and this is what makes me laugh about a guy like Skip Bayless when he talks about, oh, she's this and that, she's this and that. I'm like, well, Skip, you've been criticizing LeBron for almost 20 damn years about clutch gene. Where's her clutch gene? Where is her clutch gene? And the thing is, Larry, this is a good Indiana team. This team won 13 games last year. So if you win 13 games, you should be able to add at least 6 to 7 games on that. And I do hold them to a high standard because they are a good team. I mean, you even look at Nalisha Smith. She had 12 points, 15 rebounds. That's big.
yeah.
Aaliyah Boston, she was in foul trouble most of the game. And shout out to Aaliyah Boston. I love the black hair. I love she got rid of all that color and all that. Keep that. I'm serious. I'm not trying to
I
be funny. I'm trying to be, I'm serious. Aaliyah Boston, in my opinion, most people may not think she's an attractive young lady. I think she's very attractive. I think she's a very beautiful young lady, and I like the fact she has the black on black. I think it looks great. Keep that. I think that looks absolutely great. That goes along with your game, because I don't see her in an Indiana uniform that much longer anyway. I think she's going to go somewhere else, and we've talked about that. And that's going to be a topic for the future. But the problem with a team like Phoenix, Larry, and I know that they don't want to hear this. They got to get younger. They got to get younger. They're going to have to eventually get younger. Natasha Cloud is 32. Brittany Griner is 33. Um,
Diana Taurasi is a
Diane Taurasi is
dinosaur.
she's 42. She just turned 42. They're going to have to get younger. All right. You can keep Brittany Griner as a long term piece, but sooner or later, they're going to have to blow this thing up. And we already see what ownership is doing with the Suns. So do I trust them to make the right moves? Hell no. Hell no. But
Nope.
in this game, Brittany Griner, when we look at the game late, um, Caitlin Clark tied the game with free throws. She missed her free throw. And then Brittany Griner made a free throw. She missed her free throw. Phoenix just made too many stupid fouls in the end of this game, and it cost them the game. And, Mitchell, in the end, just was the best player on the court. She's the best player. She had 16 points second half, and she just dominated. So Phoenix loses this game that they should have won when they started the game off on a 14, I believe it's 14-2 run. So, but,
I
hey, look,
believe it
man.
was like, go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's only going to get harder for the Fever because on Tuesday night at 9:30 they're going to Las Vegas on ESPN.
Ooh.
They play Vegas Tuesday night.
Ooh.
They play Vegas Tuesday night. Yep, it's about to get real.
Ooh. Get
Now
your popcorn ready.
I will say this. I believe that Indiana will be ready to play, but you know how I think we'll really be ready to play. It wouldn't shock me if Asia Wilson tried to go for 50 in that game or more, because I think she's tired of people not giving her the respect she deserves. I think I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
I think that Asia Wilson I think that Asia Wilson is going to try to go for a big game. And trust me, on Tuesday that game is going to be talked about. I can guarantee you on all ESPN, FS1s, all that game is going to
It
be talked
better.
about. Yeah. And Tuesday I'm gonna see if I can talk about that game in depth a little more myself. Um, Hopefully, I mean, I know we all both got busy schedules. I'm hoping I get you on maybe Tuesday. We talk a few minutes just about that game specifically. But if not, I'll get some points from you. But yeah, Indiana was lucky to win this game. But Phoenix has a lot of soul searching to do. Phoenix has a lot of soul searching to do. Speaking of soul searching,
Phoenix, hold,
go ahead, go ahead.
Phoenix got a lot of soul searching to do. It's sitting at 9-9. One thing I'm not going to to hold out with Caitlin Clark and the Alicia Boston. They went into Phoenix today and got them a big win. Was it their eighth win in the season?
8-12.
Currently,
Yep.
they're eighth at the eighth seed. Them in Chicago are going to be this. I feel like this is going to be a ongoing thing throughout the summer, going into September. Uh, that was a big win today, and to get a win against Brittany Griner. I know we talked about the age. Brittany Griner, Diane Taurasi, Natasha Cloud. Those are champions.
Yeah.
Those are
Well, see,
those.
let me point this out to you as well. We're going to get to the Sky next. After they play the Dream in Atlanta on Tuesday, check the schedule out. At the Storm versus the Dream, at the Liberty versus the Liberty, at the Aces.
Damn,
Damn. Yeah. Damn.
damn.
Damn is the word for it. If we go back to the Fever, let's look at what they got, what slate they've got. Of course, they got on Tuesday night, they got the Aces. They got the Liberty, Mystics, Mercury,
Mm, mm.
Lynx, and the Wings. It seems a little more manageable than what the Chicago Sky have coming up. And again, speaking of the Sky, they lost today, their second straight loss against Minnesota. Minnesota is now 14-4 on the season after a 70-62 win. Angel Reese got her record
Number
triple double.
10.
Yep, she had 10 points, 16 rebounds. However, team lost, and I think the reason they lost was because they did not get the proper production they needed from Cardosa. 30 minutes, 3 points. She got 10 rebounds, but she only had 3 points. For them to win, Cardosa's going to have to be in double figures almost every game because you had Reese in double figures, you had Mabry in double figures, you had Allen in double figures, you had Carter in double figures. The Shield, Diamond DeShields, I would like. She's 29 now. She's out of Tennessee. She's been in the league a while now, but I like to
Love
see her
Diamond
get some more time.
Shields.
I like to get her to get some more time. But I mean, listen, you're getting what you can from Carter, and Trinity. She's up and down at times. Today she was what, 7 of 17 from the field. She has to be better than that because if she's better than that, then this team can win games. But Cardosa has to be there, and for Reese, she has to score more than 10. She has to because she is the unquestioned leader of this basketball team. Let's just
Four for
let's
16.
yeah, yeah.
Four
It's
for
not good.
16. God.
Yeah, yeah. And when
Ugh.
you're coming, but that's the thing. You're coming off the Asia Wilson game, so you're still a little bit rattled. But they had a lead in this game. They had a significant lead in this game, and they let it get away. And
Coming
they
off
let
the Asia Wilson game. That should
yeah.
be the spark to keep going. I can't no. No, to go four to go 4 for 16.
That's my point. Coming off the Asia Wilson game where Asia Wilson dominated her, you would think that she would be a little more. She could get a little more in points wise, but
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is, when you're looking at Minnesota, uh, the Collier man is just having a really good season. And then when you
Yes,
look at
she is.
their center, Elena Smith, who is only 27, she's out of Stanford. You know those Stanford girls, they play tough. They play tough and they play smart ball. Man, it's tough going against that. It's tough
Kayla
going against that.
McBride.
Yeah, this team is very good. And the thing is, they're only what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're like 9 deep only. They only got like really 9 players, but they're
Yep.
getting back. They're getting back to historical Minnesota Lynx basketball, the 4-time WNBA champions. So if you're Chicago, I'm gonna be really honest with you right now, Larry, and I don't mean to be poo-poo on anything. It's a good chance in the next couple of weeks they're gonna be out the playoff race. There's a good chance they're gonna be out the
Could
playoff
be.
race, and I'm not saying that they should tank the rest of the season, but if they start losing and they can't really get things going, man, there's a player named Paige Beckers who's going to be in that draft next year. And
Mm.
there's a player named Paige Beckers. And right now, when we look at the overall WNBA standings, the Mystics have 4 wins and the Sparks have 4 wins along with the Dallas Wings. I don't know, man. If I'm the Sky, if I start getting on a losing streak, I'm losing to these teams. I don't know. You bring in Paige Beckers to that team. Ooh.
Mm.
I'm not saying tank. I'm just saying if you can't get it done, you got to start thinking about the future.
Yeah, tanking. I don't know, but they slipping away there. They are slipping away, especially with Indiana grabbing that win today. You know,
And with Indiana's schedule being a little bit easier than theirs, it's kind of like because I read you the gauntlet that they have. It's bad.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but like I said, so we're gonna have to see what they can do, man. Well, we're definitely gonna see what they can do. Um, well, that was the WNBA topic. Any final thoughts on those games today, Larry?
No. But tomorrow we got the Sun against the Mercury tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Let
this
me
could
check
be a
the
big bounce
schedule.
back, good bounce back game from the Mercury.
Yeah, we got the
Could be,
Connecticut
and then you
Sun.
got
We got a Connecticut Sun against the Mercury. That's going to be on some network that is not that we. And then we have NBA. Then we have NBA TV. We have Dallas and Seattle. That is going to be a 10 o'clock game. So NBA TV. Hopefully they don't block it out.
Tuesday. You got Minnesota and the Liberty, Chicago and the Dream.
Uh huh.
As you talked about, Fever, Aces. You got who cares about the last game? Wednesday
Oh
you
no!
got
Oh no!
the
That's oh no! 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 That's an important game. The Mystics and Sparks is an important game because whoever loses that game is a step closer to Page Beckers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And let's be honest, the Mystics have been playing better basketball, and we have to see what the Sparks are without Cameron Brink. We need to see what kind of team they are. We need to see what they're building. We need to see what's going to happen when she comes back. What kind of team she's coming back to. So I think it's critically important, honestly.
yeah. You're right. You're right.
I
The
think
biggest game I would have to say Saturday, Liberty and the Fever on 1 o'clock CBS on Saturday. That's gonna be pretty. That's gonna be huge.
Liberty at the Fever. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that goes because pretty much they've been dominating the Fever all season, but the Fever are playing better. But speaking of that, speaking of feeling better, we're gonna tell the world how we feel. Larry, let's get ready to tell the world how we feel.
you switched
And
it up.
yeah, man. Yeah,
When,
do it.
when was we gonna talk about this?
Hey, man. Hey, listen. I did it the last hour because I was just like, I wanted to tell the world how I felt and everything, but I gave it a little bit of flavor. I was actually I was at work today, man. Come on, man. You got. I'll come back with the goofy stuff later, man. But right now we got
Stephen A. Face.
Stephen A. Face. Stephen A. Face. Come on, man. All right. Let me see if I well no
No, we
that
good,
won't work.
man. But you want to tell the world how we feel? Let's talk about these Pistons
Oh God,
and these moves that they're making. You fire Monty
Monty
Williams after
Williams.
1 season after signing him to a 5-year deal. Then you sign JB Bickerstaff today to a deal to be your next head coach. Then you sign Cade Cunningham now, as you say, as how I don't count another man's money. Don't care about any of that. But you're signing a guy to a supermax deal when he can barely stay on the floor. Cade Cunningham has been in the league. Well, this is his third year coming up this year, right?
Hmm.
And in the first 2 seasons, how many games has this guy played? Let's look at this real quick. Let's look at this real quick. Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons. Come on, man.
An unmitigated disaster. This is a disaster.
Uh,
Oh, before
so
you
he's
go
played three
on.
seasons.
Before you go on. Before you go on. It looks like reports say Paul George is done with the Clippers. Done.
Yeah.
76ers are the front runners. Just wanted to say, make sure I put that out there real quick.
So Cade Cunningham, 64 games in his rookie season. He played 12 games in his sophomore season and 62 games this past season. Points per game, 17, 19, and 22. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, there's promise. There's some promise there. But the man can't stay on the court, Rob. And are you willing to just put 220 something million? Congratulations on the money, by the way. Get paid, young man. Get paid. But damn, Detroit, what is Joe Dumars? What are they doing up there in that front office?
Listen, man. Ever since um, ever since LeBron hit him in game 5, they ain't been the same franchise. Ever since he went for that, ever since he went with like a 25, 30 point quarter, they ain't been the same franchise, man. And to me, it's sad because the Detroit Pistons are such. I'm not gonna say they're the forgotten franchise, but what they did winning those championships, the bad boys, and then you have the 2000s Pistons, what they did to Kobe and Shaq's Lakers. This is a historic franchise, dude. And I said back then that I would have picked Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes would have been my pick. And, Scotty Barnes got 270. But I think Scotty Barnes earned it because he actually stays on court, plays defense, etc. I was never a fan of cutting him because well, he came out of Oklahoma State. Wasn't a fan of him coming out of Oklahoma State. And again, it goes to ownership. They changed ownership a couple years back, and it's just been a disaster. Throwing money at problems. You know, I just
You've been the
Detroit is
fifth.
horrible, man.
You've been the fifth team for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons. Fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. What are we doing? And the year that you went to the playoffs is 18-19. You were the third team in your division.
Yeah, that's when they stabbed Blake Griffin. When Blake Griffin carried him to the playoffs, he carried him
They
with
got
one leg to
they
the
got
playoffs.
bounced out in the first round. Did they get swept that year?
Yep.
And then
Yep.
you like, I mean, okay, Dwayne Casey got you there, and then it's all right. 1, 2, 3, 4 years after that, I mean, you finally moved on from him, and you didn't think that was a good idea before. And then the one, just leave the black players alone, the black coaches alone, because you're damaging their record, man. What you got going on?
Well, I mean, hey, listen, man. I get that. I get that Mark Jackson is shadow banned from the league. I get it. But just imagine what he would have. Look what he did with the Warriors. If he could do that with the Warriors, who were historically not that great of a franchise, yeah, they've been good in the past, but they hadn't won in some time. What could he do with the Detroit Pistons? Think about Mark Jackson, his personality in Detroit. In Detroit.
A
I
very
mean, come
tough
on, man.
city.
Look, man. If the Lions could recover from Dan Orlovsky, the Detroit Pistons can recover from this. I mean, if they can recover from dude run out the end zone and then telling us how good, and then telling us how great, and then telling us on TV how great Carson Wentz was, they can recover from this. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'm next. You know, listen, this Bronny James stuff, everybody wants to bring up race and all that. It ain't about race. It's a mentality thing. And I'm just gonna put it to you like this. A lot of you out there are so afraid to take leadership. You're so afraid that you're not going to be how am I say this in the right how am I say this in a respectful way. Some of you are so used to being followers instead of leaders. And you've been brainwashed to think that you don't matter. Again, it's not a race thing because there are plenty of people out there who come from poor communities, all different types of backgrounds, race, all that. Everybody from every race on food stamps, blah blah blah. So let's get it out the way. Not a racial thing; it's a mindset thing. You all are mad. You all are mad because a guy helped his son get into the league. Mind you, that son had a cardiac arrest. Mind you, that son, I feel like if he had actually been healthy, would have played good basketball at USC. Also, do you know how many fathers and mothers have helped their sons or daughters get better jobs in this country? It happens every single day. How many of these NFL owners get their kids better jobs? Oh, I don't know. The Jones family in Dallas,
Hmm.
the Lakers. It happens every day. But because it's LeBron and you don't like it because it's not what you're used to and it's not the status quo, it makes you uncomfortable. And I get that. I get it. I get it. A lot of people didn't grow up with their fathers. Some could easily say that LeBron James has such an issue with black coaches because of the fact that he didn't have the black male influence in his life, so he don't really trust black men like that. Not saying it's true, not saying it's not true. But LeBron James is trying to break generational curses. He's trying to make sure that his son sees what he's doing so he can pass it down to his children. Um, what did LeBron James do that was wrong? Got his son drafted. What's wrong with that? Like I said, CEOs get their kids jobs every day. There's somebody working in the office right now who ain't qualified for ish, but they're working their
Mm.
job. There's somebody on the construction site right now who ain't qualified for nothing, but their mommy or daddy got them that job. I don't see nobody complaining about that. I just see you saying, "Good morning, boss. How you doing, boss? Oh, this is my daughter. This is my son, daughter. Be nice to him. You know more than them, but they're gonna get paid more than you. You accept that, but you get so mad when the athlete does it. You get so angry when the athlete does it. But I will say this as well. When I look at this situation with LeBron James, you better deliver. You better deliver because, man, LeBron James, you got everything you wanted. Got the coach, got your son. You better deliver because if you don't, I'm not gonna say that your legacy takes a hit, but you know, when we talk, if anything with any GOAT conversations, that's over with. Now, if you can somehow help turn your son into a winner and turn this Lakers situation into something, then we can really have a conversation then. But my overall point is, folks, and telling the world how I feel, get out your damn feelings. That's my point. Get out your damn feelings. If a lot of you had the ambition LeBron had, you wouldn't be in the situation you'd be in right now. So yeah, what's your final word, Larry?
Final word on that. Not only does the shit happen with like regular people, working, when you were talking about how parents get their kids good, good jobs and stuff like that.
Hey,
The
hey,
shit
hey,
happens.
hey, hey, hold on. Let's not forget private schools. These parents put these kids in these really nice schools, and they already getting looks from colleges and all that because they know the parents can afford it, or they know that their kid can get a scholarship. So you already got the advantage there. So it happens every day.
Yeah, exactly where I was getting ready to go. This happens all the way from little league. When they see the talent that their young kid has, they're gonna put their young kid in the best position to win. You know, so I don't blame him.
Yeah,
His kid can play ball, and he wants to. Not only is he going to be his kid's teammate, but he's going to be a coach to his young son. So yeah, I think we can both agree that Bronny doesn't have the generational talent that Bron has. But what he can do is coach him up to be a very good player, very good role player, or whatever his desire is. But I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. He's got another son coming up. What are you gonna do? Hate then? I got another one for you. Deion Sanders' son is coming out in the draft next year. You ain't seen. If you think this is something, you ain't seen nothing yet.
oh yeah, and trust me, he already has a list, and it's gonna piss some people off. But he has a list, and
He's
he's gonna
making a
stick to that
list and
list.
he's checking it twice.
Exactly. And like I said, folks, listen, I'm an all-time Michael Jordan fan. But I will tell you this, Bronny coming out of high school, people thought that he could play in the NBA then because of his talent. Bronny, without the cardiac arrest, I believe would have had a really good season at USC. So I think we're going to see what that young man can do. But we always talk about the GOAT conversation. At least LeBron could get his son in the league because Jordan's kids weren't good enough. Good night.
It's caught in the crossfire.